Hello, welcome to the first video of a series of videos I'm going to do about paper 2, English language paper 2, and this is the text I'm working with. These are the texts because of course you know paper 2 has 2 extracts for you to look at, and the nature of this paper is to do with writers' viewpoints and perspectives. So you're trying to read these texts and work out what viewpoints and what perspectives these writers are coming from, or what viewpoints they're trying to present to us, the reader. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the question 2. So just to say, this is the 2 texts that are to do with the rail disasters, writers' views and perspectives, and this is on Show My Homework, or I've given it to you in a lesson. So if we have a look down here at question 2, here it is, I've highlighted it. So refer to source A and source B, write a summary of the differences in the writer's viewpoints of the rail disasters they each describe. So the key thing, I'm just going to unhighlight it now because I want to show you that when you get into the exam you need to highlight the key things in the question. So it is both sources you're looking at, so you'll need to highlight that, and then it's a summary of the differences, and that word differences is important because the text that you'll be given will have a common theme, and it might be easy to kind of get a little bit carried away and start talking about the things that are similar, but the question asks you very specifically to talk about the differences in the writer's viewpoints of the rail disasters. Okay, so it's an 8-mark question, and so in the exam you will have around 10 minutes to answer it. Okay, it's a bit of a tall order, but I'm sure after you've watched this video you'll feel a little bit more confident about what it is you actually have to do. Okay, so just before I get into looking at the extracts, I just wanted to show you this because this is the mark scheme. And so this, and it's the mark scheme specifically for this question. So you can see in sort of the level 3 and the level 4 kind of area, shows, for level 3, shows a clear understanding of the differences between the information, begins to interpret both texts, and this word interpret is to do with making those inferences. So looking at what the writer has written and then working out for yourself what kind of viewpoint he's presenting. So that's the idea of interpret. I'll come back to that when I'm looking at the actual texts. Demonstrates clear connections between texts. Sorry, I've got a bit of fog in my throat. So that's making sure you're referring back between the texts, you're talking about connections and links between them, and select relevant quotations and references from both texts to support the response. You know, you're used to doing that. That's standard for every English response you have to write. And then if you want to get into this sort of level 4, the 2 key words are perceptive and detailed. So show a detailed understanding of the differences between the information, offers perceptive interpretation of both texts, synthesizes evidence between text. So you see in level 3 it's you make clear connections, but then in level 4 it talks about this skill of synthesizing, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. And then of course you've got select judicious range of quotations from both texts. Judicious means well judged. You've selected, you know, quotations that aptly will really support what it is you are presenting in your answer. Okay, so the skill of synthesizing. I think this is quite a good little explanation. How do I synthesize evidence? The term synthesize means to combine information from different sources together. So to synthesize evidence in the exam means to put together information from the 2 source texts that you are given. The 2 source texts in the exam will have been chosen because they share a common theme. Each writer will approach the subject with the perspectives and viewpoints of their own time, so there are going to be differences between them. Not only their own time though, they'll also be presenting viewpoints from their own sort of beliefs, if you like. So you'll get some sort of indication as to their feelings about a particular event, and that will be you looking at their viewpoints. You will be expected to draw out the relevant information from both texts and summarize what you find. Okay, so that's quite a useful little summary about what synthesis is. So I'm going to stop this video here because it's like a little introduction to question 2, and then if you go to part 2, then you'll see me going through the texts and actually using these skills from the mark scheme and showing you what I mean by synthesize. Okay, so go to part 2.